ChatGPT said, growth doesn't need an announcement, it needs commitment. In this noisy world, where everyone seems to be broadcasting their every move, it's easy to believe that being loud means being successful. But the truth is, the strongest trees grow in silence. The tallest mountains do not shout about their height. Real growth happens quietly, patiently, and consistently. When a seed is buried under the soil, it looks like nothing is happening, but underneath, something powerful is taking place. The roots are forming, strength is building, and preparation is happening for something beautiful to rise above. That is how we must build ourselves quietly, deeply, with unwavering commitment. Many people spend so much energy trying to convince the world that they are growing that they forget to actually grow. They talk about their goals, their plans, their dreams, but forget that the most powerful transformation doesn't come from talking. It comes from doing. Commitment means showing up every day, even when no one is watching. It means staying focused when the excitement fades and the effort gets hard. It means staying loyal to your purpose even when progress feels invisible, because growth is not a single moment of success. It is a continuous process of showing up with discipline day after day. When you build yourself quietly, you remove the need for validation. You don't need to prove anything to anyone because your commitment becomes your confidence. You start to realize that the opinion of others cannot define your direction. The world doesn't need to know what you're working on. What matters is that you know and that you stay true to it. The quieter you become, the stronger your focus gets. Silence is not emptiness. It is space for reflection, for consistency, for clarity. When you work in silence, your energy isn't wasted explaining your dreams to people who won't understand them. It's invested in building something that will one day speak for itself. Commitment is not about how loud your intentions are. It's about how steady your actions are. When the alarm rings early in the morning, commitment is the voice that says, "Get up, you have work to do." When distractions tempt you, commitment whispers, "Stay focused, remember why you started." When results don't come as quickly as you hoped, commitment reminds you that the seed grows in darkness before it blooms in light. Every time you stay consistent despite challenges, you are building yourself not for show, but for strength. In a world obsessed with instant results, true growth requires patience. Everyone wants to arrive, few want to evolve. But the beauty of quiet growth is that it cannot be rushed. You cannot force a flower to bloom faster by shouting at it. You nurture it, you water it, protect it, and give it time. In the same way, your growth will take time, and that's perfectly fine. Every hour you spend improving yourself is a deposit in the account of your future. Even when it looks like nothing is changing, trust that something is growing inside you. The loudest growth often ends too soon because it was built on attention, not on intention. But the quiet ones, the ones who persist silently, they build foundations that last. You don't need to announce every step you take. You just need to take the next step. You don't need to convince the world that you're becoming better. Just become better. Because one day when your results appear, when your peace becomes visible, when your presence starts inspiring others, the same people who never noticed your silent effort will wonder how you did it. There's a special power in being quietly committed. It's not about hiding your goals, it's about protecting them. It's not about being secretive, it's about being selective about what deserves your energy, your words, and your time. Some things grow best in silence. You are one of them. You don't need noise to prove your progress. You just need faith in your process. So build yourself quietly. Work when no one sees, practice when no one claps, and stay humble when success arrives. Because real growth doesn't happen when you announce your dreams. It happens when you commit to them. And when the time is right, the world will see what you were growing in silence all along: strength, wisdom, resilience, and peace. Growth doesn't need an announcement. It needs you to stay committed, stay consistent, and stay calm. Because silence is not the absence of progress, it is the presence of purpose. The most powerful work happens in silence, not in the spotlight. When you think about it, everything truly great in this world begins quietly. The sun doesn't announce its rising, it simply lights up the world. The seed doesn't make a sound as it breaks open beneath the soil, it just grows. The heart beats without any noise, yet it sustains life itself. The truth is, silence is not the absence of progress, it's where progress begins. The world teaches us to seek the spotlight, to crave attention, to make noise about every little achievement. But the ones who truly create impact understand that the most meaningful growth happens when nobody is watching, when the only witness to your effort is you. Working in silence is not about hiding. It's about protecting what's precious. It's about focusing on the process rather than performing for approval. When you're in the spotlight, you start working to be seen. But when you're in silence, you start working to become. The spotlight often distracts. It demands your energy, your attention, and your peace. It makes you think about how you look rather than who you are becoming. But in silence, there's no pressure to please, no need to prove, no race to compete. It's just you and your purpose. That's where authenticity thrives. That's where mastery is born. Imagine an artist painting alone in a dimly lit room. No cameras, no applause, no one to judge or praise. Just the canvas, the brush, and the heartbeat of creation. That's where art truly happens. The beauty we later see on display is the result of hours of silent struggle, quiet practice, and deep concentration. The same is true in life. Whatever field you're in, your profession, your relationships, your dreams, the real transformation happens in moments of quiet effort, when you keep refining yourself, when you keep going even when no one notices. The world glorifies visibility, but it is invisibility that sharpens strength. When you are away from attention, you are free from distractions. You don't have to think about opinions, you can focus on outcomes. Silence becomes your workshop where your character is forged, your skills are shaped, and your purpose deepens. The most powerful people are those who can work diligently in the dark, trusting that their light will eventually be seen when it's ready. The spotlight often comes too soon. When people get attention before they are ready, it blinds them. They become more focused on maintaining an image than on maintaining integrity. That's why silence is a gift. It gives you time to build strong roots before you grow tall branches. The higher you rise, the deeper your roots must be, and roots grow best in darkness. The storms of life will always come, but if you've built yourself quietly without depending on applause, you'll stand firm when others fall. Silence also teaches humility. It reminds us that success is not about showing the world how good we are. It's about becoming genuinely better each day. When you work in silence, you learn to find satisfaction in the process itself, not just in recognition. You begin to value growth over glory, depth over display. You start realizing that your peace is more valuable than popularity. Some of the greatest minds in history, scientists, thinkers, inventors, spent years in solitude, refining their ideas in silence before the world ever knew their names. Their greatness wasn't built on attention, it was built on dedication. When no one believed in them, they believed in themselves. When no one noticed them, they noticed their purpose. That's the power of silence. It allows your inner voice to be louder than the noise of the world. In your journey, there will be times when you feel unseen, unappreciated, unnoticed. But don't mistake that for failure. The cocoon is quiet before the butterfly appears. The mountain is silent before the dawn breaks. And your growth, too, will first happen quietly, privately, in stillness. Don't rush for the spotlight. It will come when you're ready. Focus instead on the silent moments that prepare you for it. Let your silence be your strength. Let it be the space where you listen, where you learn, where you build. Because when your time comes, the world will see not just what you've done, but who you've become. The most powerful work, the kind that transforms lives and builds legacies, never begins with noise. It begins in the quiet heart of someone committed to becoming their best self. So, cherish the silence, work hard when no one is watching, and remember, when your roots are strong in silence, your success will one day speak louder than any spotlight ever could. ChatGPT said, "Focus on consistency, not on comparison." This single principle can change your entire life if you truly live it. We live in a world that constantly compares who's ahead, who's behind, who's more successful, more popular, more liked. Every time we open our phones, we are bombarded with images of people showing their best moments, their victories, their smiles. And slowly, without realizing it, we start to measure our worth through someone else's timeline. But comparison is a thief. It steals your joy, your focus, and your peace. It distracts you from your purpose and makes you forget your own path. Consistency, on the other hand, brings you back to your truth. It reminds you that progress is not about speed, it's about direction. You don't need to run faster than others. You just need to keep walking steadily toward your own goal. You don't need to bloom like someone else. You just need to grow in your own season. Every journey is unique. Every person is on a different timeline. And when you understand that, you stop rushing and start trusting. You stop competing and start improving. The problem with comparison is that it focuses your eyes outward, not inward. You start to care more about how others perceive you than how much you are truly growing. You start to perform, not progress. You try to prove, not improve. But real growth happens quietly within you in your consistency, in the habits you build, in the discipline you keep even when no one sees it. The greatest power lies not in doing something once with intensity, but in doing something again and again with commitment. Think of water. A single drop does nothing to a stone, but when that same drop keeps falling again and again, day after day, it can carve through solid rock. That's the power of consistency. It doesn't look powerful in the moment, but its strength is revealed over time. The same applies to your dreams, your health, your character. You don't change your life in a day. You change it by showing up every day. Small actions repeated with sincerity create massive transformation. Comparison will tell you you're behind. Consistency will whisper, keep going. Comparison will say, you're not good enough. Consistency will say, you're getting better. Comparison is loud and impatient. Consistency is calm and faithful. One makes you doubt yourself, the other builds you, so you must choose carefully what voice you listen to. The truth is, the moment you compare yourself to someone else, you lose sight of your own purpose. Maybe they started earlier. Maybe they had different challenges, different opportunities, different lessons to learn. You are not meant to walk their path. You are meant to walk yours. Your journey is not delayed. It's perfectly timed for your growth. The seed doesn't look at the flower next to it and feel insecure. It keeps growing underground, trusting that its time will come too. So instead of comparing, start committing to your routine, to your improvement, to your process. When you're consistent, progress may look slow, but it's steady. You may not notice it day by day, but when you look back, you'll realize how far you've come. Consistency builds confidence because it gives you proof that you can rely on yourself. Each time you show up, you strengthen your character. Each day you keep your promise to yourself. You earn your own respect. And that's more valuable than any validation from the world. Comparison often makes you chase after things that aren't meant for you. It makes you copy others instead of creating yourself. But when you focus on consistency, you start shaping your unique identity. You learn from your mistakes, refine your habits, and develop your strengths. You start competing with who you were yesterday, not who others are today. And that's where real growth happens, when your only competition is your past self. So, if you ever feel discouraged looking at others' success, remind yourself their story is not your standard. Their timeline is not your target. Keep doing your work quietly, faithfully, consistently. Don't look at who's watching. Don't look at who's winning. Look at the person in the mirror and ask, am I growing? If the answer is yes, even just a little, you are already succeeding. Remember, great things take time. A masterpiece isn't painted in one stroke. A tree doesn't grow tall in one day. And a person doesn't transform overnight. It's the slow, steady, silent effort that builds greatness. So stay consistent even when it's boring. Stay committed even when it's hard. Stay humble even when you make progress. Because one day your consistency will speak for itself. The world will see your growth, not because you shouted about it, but because it became impossible to ignore. So focus on your pace, not on others. Water your roots daily, and trust that in time your tree will bloom too, quietly, beautifully, and powerfully. Let your results make the noise, not your plans. In a world that glorifies announcements, where everyone wants to be seen, heard, and recognized for what they intend to do, there is rare beauty in silence. The truth is, talking about what you will do gives you a temporary feeling of achievement. It tricks your mind into thinking you've already accomplished something. But it's action, not words, that changes your life. The world doesn't remember people for what they promised. It remembers them for what they produce. You don't need to tell people how great your vision is. You need to quietly build it until your results speak for themselves. When you speak too soon about your goals, you invite unnecessary energy, opinions, doubts, and expectations. Some people will discourage you, some will secretly compete with you, others will simply wait to see you fail. But when you move in silence, no one knows what to attack, no one knows what to doubt. You protect your dream by keeping it private, allowing it to grow in peace. The same way, a seed must stay underground before it becomes a tree. Your goals must stay unseen until they are ready to bear fruit. Let your silence be your shield and your results be your proof. It's easy to impress people with words. It's harder to impress them with consistency, but only one of those will change your future. Every time you talk about what you will do, you spend energy that could be used for actually doing it. Imagine a builder who keeps telling everyone how magnificent his house will be, but never picks up a brick. The house will forever remain a story. Life works the same way. You can tell everyone about your dreams, or you can quietly build the life that turns those dreams into reality. But you can't do both. The truth is, people may doubt your silence, but they can't argue with your success. When you achieve something, when your results are visible, even your critics are forced to respect you. The most satisfying moment isn't when you announce your plan. It's when you accomplish it. When your work speaks for you, you no longer need to explain yourself. That is real power, quiet, calm, and undeniable. Think about the greats, athletes, artists, inventors. Most of them didn't spend their time talking about what they would do. They practiced, they refined, they prepared. Their results became their voice, and that voice echoed far longer than any speech ever could. The loudest noise you can make is the sound of your success. Not the applause of others, but the inner satisfaction that comes when you know you did the work, even when no one believed in you. Letting your results make the noise also teaches humility. When you work silently, you learn to value progress over praise. You stop chasing approval and start chasing mastery. You realize that true confidence doesn't come from showing off your plans. It comes from trusting your process. Every hour you spend working quietly adds strength to your foundation. Every day you stay committed without validation adds depth to your growth. You start living for purpose, not for attention. Sometimes people will underestimate you because they don't see your effort. That's fine. Let them. You don't need to convince anyone of your potential. You don't need to argue or explain yourself. Just keep working. There's something incredibly powerful about being underestimated. It gives you space to grow without pressure, to rise without distraction, and to surprise everyone when the time is right. By the time they notice, it's already too late for doubt. The beauty of silent progress is that it builds inner peace. You're no longer racing against others or trying to prove anything. You simply do your work with dedication, knowing that the results will arrive when they're meant to. There's a quiet confidence in that, a kind of peace that comes from knowing you're walking your own path, at your own pace, for your own purpose. When you finally achieve what you've been working toward, you won't need to say a word. People will see it. They will feel it. Your results will tell your story more powerfully than any announcement ever could. So, stop declaring what you will do. Start doing it. Stop chasing attention. Start chasing excellence. The right people will notice your growth at the right time. Let your success become your statement. Let your hard work become your introduction. Let your results be your voice in a noisy world. Because real power doesn't come from talking about your potential. It comes from turning that potential into proof. When you quietly put in the effort, the results will always speak clearly, confidently, and beautifully for you.